Negative $20,471. How the did that happen? Welcome back to another episode of Smooth Operator Trucking, where we create the dream 1 mile at a time. Today we're going to be talking about how much I made or lost in 2026 as an owner operator, and we're getting started right now. Let's jump right into it. My net revenue for last year, for 2026, was $87,913.51. Did 34 loads. Average revenue per load was $2,585.69. My net per mile, and this is after all miles, was $1.78. That's including deadhead and everything. I used 7,565 gallons of diesel fuel. My average cost per gallon was $3.03, which is really good. I'm not sure what the national fuel average was for 2025. However, I'm pretty sure that it was a lot higher than that. Average miles per gallon was 6.5. Fuel expense, I spent $22,910.45 on fuel. My actual miles, 49,315 miles. Actual cost per mile was $2.20 per mile. Booked miles was 34,811. Empty miles was 14,504. Percentage of miles empty was 29.41%. Average miles per load was 1,450. Maintenance wise, I spent $21,719.73, which is crazy, considering the fact that I only drove 49,315 miles last year, and a lot of that came actually at the end of the year. My total expenses for 2025 was $108,384.55, which puts me at a loss of $20,471.04. Now, one thing to keep in mind though is that is my pay is included in that. I am an expense. I think I paid myself right around $13,000 last year, and so 13,000 of that 20,000 is me paying myself. So, but yeah. So why did I only um, net 87? Actually, gross. Why did I only gross $87,913? And why did I lose so much money? And why did I only drive 49,315 miles? All right, so let's talk about it for a second. Last year was actually a pretty good year for me. Maybe not for trucking, but as many of you know, I did 20 years in the Army, and because of my military background, sometimes different opportunities present themselves. And between training and deploying last year uh, for private security contracts, um, I was probably away from the truck about at least 5 months altogether, maybe a little more, but at least 5 months. And so that's the reason why I only did 49,315 miles. The pay that I received, I can't go into detail about where I was and what I was doing, how much I got paid, but it definitely justified doing that and parking the truck for those 4 months or whatever. I definitely could have taken my truck um, out of Mercer's system, but I've got a 2007 Freightliner, and I wanted to stay grandfathered in. I think Mercer now, I think it's a case by case basis, but I think last year, the year before last, they pretty much said they wanted the trucks to be like a 2008 or 2010 or newer, just to kind of cut down on their, like, I guess, emissions footprint or something like that. But if you're already here, then you're grandfathered in. Now, I've heard people say that they're still taking older trucks. I didn't want to take that chance. I think it cost me maybe about $1,000, maybe $1,200 a month to stay leased on. $675 a month for trailer rental fee. I think it's about another $238 in insurance, and then all the other little things, or whatever. So somewhere around $1,000, not very much. So for going for 4 months, you know, a little over $4,000 that I had to kind of catch up. And unfortunately for me, when I returned and got in the truck, I started having back-to-back breakdowns. So hopefully all that is behind me. You know, we're in 2026. Yeah, I had a breakdown first month of 2026. It cost me $12,000, but hopefully, if I can go 3 months without any major breakdowns, then I can make that money back and make sure that I've got enough money in the maintenance account to cover, you know, future repairs. So, but yeah, so these are my numbers. You know, these aren't actually very realistic numbers because, like I said, I was away from the truck for so long. But maybe I guess if you double these numbers, now the more miles you drive, especially the more paid miles you drive, the lower your cost per mile is going to be because your fixed cost. Your fixed cost is going to stay the same no matter what. But the more miles you drive, the lower that fixed cost becomes per mile. Does that make sense? And then obviously you've got your variable, you know, expenses or whatever. But yeah, so I mean, if I had a drove the whole all of last year, I probably would have done at least 100,000 miles, probably a little more, and I probably would have came out broke even or you know even profitable. Because remember, like I said, when I do my bookkeeping and when I keep up with my expenses, I count myself as an expense. Anyways, hope you guys got value out of this video. If you did, go ahead and consider subscribing, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and watch some of these other videos. Like I always say, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Hard times don't last, hard truckers do. And last but definitely not least, stay smooth, my friends.